Well, welcome to this video presentation of this proposal, which is to see the conceptual basis of the global convergent logic, and the idea of making this presentation is so you can understand the proposal better. There is a PDF with all the information. So if you want to know more about it, you can just ask to my email, and I'll send you the PDF. My email is universalperspective777@gmail.com. And so, well, first of all, what is global convergent logic? Well, named in Spanish, lógica global convergente. And one thing we could say about it is that it is a very unique and unprecedented cosmovision, we could call it, and very much needed and required for the moments, the historical moments in which we are immersed as a humanity, as the human species, but also understanding the human species as a resource and a part of the evolutionary process of planet Earth, and at the same time understanding Earth as a component of the solar system, and the solar system being this kind of like organism of body of the sun, which is in its own evolutionary process. So where does this resource come from? Like, which is the source of this resource? Yeah. And what it could say is that the resource and the source of this resource comes from a signal of reality, a signal coming from reality, a signal coming from what we could call the civilized expressed universe. This is a concept that is used in the global convergent logic. And when we're talking about a civilized expressed universe, we're talking about a modality of a universe which the motor that makes it evolve is consciousness. So the more conscious an element is, that is the motor of that evolution of that element. We are more used to the notion of a non-civilized expressed universe, which motor of evolution is power. It tends to be like power. So those who can grasp power are the ones that, so to speak, can have an influence. Yeah. Now, there's many other ways and many other things to understand about civilized expressed universe, but to synthesize, it's that. Yeah. So this signal, so this resource comes from a signal emitted from this modality of a civilized expressed universe. Yeah. Now, the signal, if you can have signals, but you need a device, like you need a radio which can capture that signal, and when captures that signal, it can decode that signal and emit whatever that signal is providing. Yeah. So the antenna, the human antenna, which was able to capture the signal and capture it, process it, decode it, and start to share it, is an Argentinian woman named Alejandra Casado. And the date, there's a specific date in which that antenna, that human antenna, was able to capture the signal emitted, less education emitted from the modality of civilized expressed universe. Because that is what is required in this moment, in this stage of evolution of Earth and of the solar system, and for the human participation. So that date is the 14th of October 2012. That is when Alejandra Casado, this Argentinian woman, is able to capture the signal. Then she, of course, this begins a whole process where that signal starts to transmit an education to Alejandra, but then there's a moment that Alejandra starts to share it with the rest publicly. And that the public sharing begins in the year 2013, specifically with her first video, her first public video, which was on the 21st of June, 2013. And from that moment, since 2013 up to 2020, Alejandra begins what is called her events. And she starts to do these events, which are very intensive 3-day events. And those 8 years are basically the years where she starts using these events in order to share all the, let's say, the structure that the education that this signal is providing her. Yeah. So during those 8 years, yeah, which I was part of, were very exciting in one sense, very stimulating, because one could notice and one could sense the unprecedented and the level of coherency, like an unprecedented level of coherency that this was bringing. Yeah. But at the same time, it was also very confusing, because it's required to reconstruct because it's a signal mainly coming from the future. It's not a signal coming from what we have already been documented from the past to the present. It's a new logic that is coming. So there was also this very high level of confusion, because there was this configuration of, you know, of one's design and one's identity, and during those 8 years, I kind of put the analogy of like if it was this big puzzle, you know, and what this puzzle was, it was presenting, we could say, the conceptual basis, like the skeleton of this work, you know, like the skeleton that was going to hold this body of work, so to speak. And it required 8 years of a mission. In those 8 years, there were 70 events, each event of 3 days, which was done all over the world. A lot of events in Argentina, but all over the world. And it, like I said, it was like a puzzle. Like each event presented a piece of that puzzle, but it didn't present it like, it wasn't like in a very linear way, you know. So, you know, when you're doing a puzzle, you start putting the pieces and you're very confused of what the image is, you know, like what is the idea, the image that's behind that puzzle, and you can't really see it. Sometimes you see little pieces that come together and you can see a part of it. And using that analogy, that was this feeling like, oh, okay, now I can start to see what this, the architecture of this work is, the blueprint, the pattern. But then one would see, oh no, that is just the finger of the whole body of work, So, but with these years, what was able to occur was a full transmission, we could say, of the skeleton, the foundations of this body of work. And then from we could say that now there is this, pattern. There is this basis where we can start to recognize the key references and the key notions, the key concepts that make up the structure of this body of work. Since 2020, we could say that it's more to begin to implement what this education has provided. First, the education of the signal to Alejandra Casado, and then her role in the process of sharing it with others. And as a fractal, I'm kind of doing the same thing. It's like to continue the extension of that emission for those who resonate, of course, for those who resonate. So, so now it's more a moment of implementation. The structure of this body of work is already there. Of course, there's always updates that are appearing, but we could say that the main references and the basis is there. So one thing that we could say is that this is a way of understanding space-time and the structures of space-time in a logical, technical manner. Now, you could say that, well, science, the science that we know, is kind of observing, space-time in a logical, technical way. It's using logic. It's using something precise, technical. Yeah. The thing is that science, the portion of what it's observing, it's just what we could call the perceivable portion. And the perceivable portion, we could say, is just the effect. But there's a whole background, there's a whole imperceivable background, which is like the structuring for that effect to appear. So what this cosmovision is also including is the multi-dimensional nature of reality and the multi-dimensional nature of space-time and all the structures that are allowing from the imperceivable to the perceivable to work. It's like a technology. There's a technology that is allowing all this incredible existence to function. Yeah. So one way of referencing what the global convergent logic is interdimensional science. So it is a logical way of observing space-time, as its name includes, global convergent logic. So there's a logical, technical observation and referencing and understanding of space-time, but it also has this element of interdimensional. And normally the science, again, that we have is just observing one dimension, just this physical, the physical material expression. And that is good for what science is doing, like in its field of study, it's perfect. But the thing is that it's incomplete. And what happens with all the other scales that are not perceivable, but are the cause of that effect that science is studying? So, the causes, the effects of what science is studying. Normally, that area, the unperceivable, what we could call the one that is unconscious to us, normally the relationship or with that or the way of attending that area is it has been attended through mysticism, through a mystical way of looking at the unperceivable and its connection with the perceivable. And what this resource is coming is to provide a non-mystical explanation and a non-mystical understanding of all that unperceivable dimensions that are structuring and causing what we could say the effects in the perceivable. So one thing that is going to occur with those who resonate, who want to be in touch and in contact and want to know about this, this resource, is that it is a non-mystical view of our multidimensional nature and the multidimensional nature of reality. It is a logical way of attending it. And sometimes I also put this example, like before, when there was lightning, there was a moment that the way of explaining that lightning was very mystical, magical, or mythological, like some deity that was very angry and throwing its beam of light onto but there was a moment that when science came, the way of observation and observing that phenomena called lightning was seen through the eyes of logic. And there was a logical explanation for that to be occurring. So this is like that same intention, but taking into consideration the full scope of our nature and the full scope of the nature of reality. So this is another. So it's it's unique, unprecedented cosmovision and an interdimensional science. So, and also another thing is that when we see, for example, a science, it's mainly looking at space-time and understanding space-time or understanding reality from the need of the human observer. So it's like if it observes Mars, it's thinking, oh, there's water, so how can we get water out of there? So it's very much, human-based or ego-based observation of the space-time. It's more like, how can the human extract something of use out of that existence of space-time? Now the name global convergent logic, global, is informing us of the perspective from where we're looking at it. So it's much more about not how the human can use the earth and its resources, but the other way around. So how can a global consciousness, for example, Earth is a global consciousness, it's a globe. So it's much more about inverting the perspective and inverting the equation. So it's how the Earth is going to use us as humans as a resource. How is the sun going? So it's more about from the project of the sun, how can the human be useful? How is it seen, the human process, from the perspective of the sun? So that's also a very big shift in perspective. We are putting, the priority is from that global, be it our planet Earth, or be it the globe of the sun, and of course the sun as a component, as a star, as a component of the expressed universe. Yeah. So from that project of expressed universe, how is the sun implementing it within its own project to collaborate, and the Earth, and within the Earth, the human and the species, and within the human species, each of us. So, but it's not like so much the question of what can I get out of this resource, you know? It's much more, how can this resource connect me with the intention, the project, the purpose of the solar project and the Earth's project for the human species, and therefore for me also. So that's also something to take into consideration. And we also call it convergent, because when you're taking the greatest perspective, that is converging all the little perspectives that are part, you know. So I have a perspective, and those who are watching this has a perspective. We have particular perspectives, but that which converges all our particular perspectives is a global perspective. Yeah. So when you reference that point of connection, all the particular perspectives start to converge together. Yeah. And your perspective converges within that project. Yeah. So it's much more, yeah, it's not so egocentric, it's more geocentric, we could say. And I think, so what is the course format? So this is what the global convergent logic is about, and this is what we're going to be talking about, yeah, for those who resonate. Now, the course, the format of the course is to try break down these essentials that make up the skeleton of this body of work, the structure of this body of work, and break it down into nine references, yeah, 9 points. And with each point, what I'm going to do is this starts in March. I can't remember the dates, but just you can find it in the PDF. But before the first meeting we have, I'm going to make a short video of that notion, so you can watch it beforehand, and then when we meet in the meeting together, we can talk about it and interact about it and try to clarify the understanding of that notion. So, yeah, like I said, break it down into 9 points, 9 references, we could call them, which you have them in the PDF, which make up the essentials of this the skeleton of this body of work. And it would be a meeting each month. So each month we'll have a meeting, and before that meeting, a week before, you'll have a video, a short video. So there will be 9 videos in total, and we'll be meeting during 9 months. Actually, it'll be 10 months, because there will be a final integration meeting. Yeah, so this starts in March, but it ends in November. Okay, it ends in November. And all the dates and all that, you have it in the PDF. And the meeting duration will be more or less about an hour and a half. It just depends on how the interaction goes on, but no longer than 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, no longer than that. And so the idea would be to try see in an organized, synthetic, systematic, updated way these essential points and references then make up this the skeleton of this body of work, you know, like the blueprints of this body of work. So if you resonate with this this proposal, just get in contact with me. Again, the rest of the information you can find it in the PDF. And thanks for listening to this presentation. And take care. Bye bye.